All right, we ready? All right, it's 5 o'clock. I'd like to call to order the Public Safety and Licensing Committee meeting for Monday, March 27th. Thank everyone for being here. Please let the record reflect that Alder Caprellian has an excused absence this evening. And our first item of business then is the approval of the minutes for the March 13th meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion to approve in a second. Any updates, changes, omissions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. First item of business then is 290-23, communication for a change of agent for a Class A fermented beverage and intoxicating liquor license for the Liquor Depot, 1401 Washington Avenue. And we will move this item down since they are not here yet, and then we'll take action depending on their appearance or not then. So we'll defer that until later in the meeting. Item 299-23, communication for a change of ownership for a Class A fermented malt beverage license for High Street Investment, located at 704 High Street. Mr. Yes Patel. Mr. Patel, please come up to the podium, and I do have to go through a minor swearing that everything you tell us will be the truth.
Yep.
Thank you very much. So, with that, first I want to confirm with our staff that there's no concerns with the license and everything, license application, everything is complete, and background checks are complete?
Everything.
All right. With that, please tell us about the business or any anticipated changes to the business with this.
No changes as far as just come in and try to run a cleaner business. I already own a few in stores around town, and record kind of speaks for itself. So just
Which other ones do you own, if I may?
I own Matrenga Supermarket on
Okay.
South Villa, then
Okay, yeah.
also Food and Liquor on 8th and Main. It's very similar to those businesses.
Any questions?
How
Alder Coe.
long have you owned one on Main Street now?
Uh,
3 years?
coming this August 4th.
4 years already? And Matrenga's 2?
Matrenga's was 1 year last week.
1 year, okay. And we haven't had any problems with any of these businesses, so work this wholeheartedly.
Any other questions? No. So, would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second then. Any further discussion on the item? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Next, communication sponsored by Alder McCarthy on behalf of the Licensing Committee requesting the appearance of Doug Nicholson, agent for the Brick House at 316 Main Street, pursuant to a formal expression of concern, and also requesting consideration of rescinding the formal expression of concern. So, I'll call you up. I have to read something off then, Mr. Nicholson. First of all, do you, again, swear everything you tell us will be the truth?
I do.
All right. You're required to appear before this committee because we received a notice of one or more concerning incidents at your establishment. As a result, the committee has issued a formal expression of concern against you under Section 627 of the ordinance. If you are issued 2 within a 6-month period or 3 or more in a 1-year period, you will be referred to the city attorney's office for disciplinary proceedings, including possible suspension or revocation of your license. You'll have the opportunity to address this committee and tell us how you intend to correct the issues going forward. However, you do not have to discuss the specific incidents unless you wish. So, with that, I think the police would at least give us the overview of the date of the incident. Not the investigation, just the date and the report on that for the moment here.
Okay. So the specific incident, I'm assuming, would be the fight that you had outside, or inside your establishment that went outside, into the street that everybody saw. So I think the big concern for that was, I understand you have security. I think the big thing was we never got a call. So I think the big thing on the police part, if there is a problem, please give us a call. I know it's, sometimes that's the big proponent that I've seen so far is we want you to call. I know it might not be good because you see a report, but it's reflected that you called and you're showing an effort.
Certainly, I did. I was working actually the night before, and there was a altercation on 3rd and Main, which I did call on. I wasn't working the night of this incident, and all my staff has been informed again, but very very harshly now, that they must call every time or anytime there's an incident.
So, any questions for Nixon?
Can you tell us what you've done to change things right now, Doug?
Sure, above the middle, I mean, it's a very fast changing environment. Things can change with a popular establishment very quickly, in a matter of weeks. We saw a crowd coming in later at night, about after 12:30 at 1 o'clock. That wasn't our normal crowd. And they happened about 2 weeks in a row and ended that weekend with that disturbance outside in the middle of the street. So we changed our rules to not allow anyone in after 12:30 unless they've been in prior to that. And since then, we haven't had any issues.
Clarify that change in rules is somebody that's been there during the course of the evening is welcome to stay beyond 12:30, but you're not allowing
Absolutely.
other people in after.
Correct.
Then. Okay. You? Another Jerry?
You have another question, Alderman?
No, I was just gonna say, we went on, where Jarrett and I went on a ride along, and we had stopped there. And, just wanted to let people know, we went all the way up to through the whole building, and it was really pretty nice. And, even the police, commented on how the staff works with the police well. And I don't know how recently, but they also have their own body cameras also, and if anything comes up, and Doug says that everything would go to the PAD, so just wanted
I would
to be
say
aware
that.
of that.
We also have we've always cooperated with police and will always continue to and share our videos or whatever other information. I've shared some information. We have an ID scanner at the front door, so every time someone comes in, they get scanned. If they leave, they get scanned again coming in, so we know that they're there multiple times if they've left when they come back in. We've shared that information also with police departments doing investigations.
We were there, like 2 Saturdays ago, and it was, they were checking IDs at the door and whatnot. Is that your same security? Like, how long have you had that security, the people who are at the front door, have they been there with you?
My head of security has been there, I believe, for 9-10 years, back when it was still an NB, before it was Brick House. The other, 2 of them are fairly new, and another one has been with me for, I think, 2 or 3 years.
Okay, just want to make sure that they're getting that information that you said, that, that kind of change, because I know a lot of these, sometimes establishments have turnover and new folks might know. So just make sure that it's consistent across the board, that they know that these new kind of rules that you're implementing, so this doesn't happen in the future.
Absolutely, I promise you, they do know.
Following up on that, the folks that were there that evening, were they your new staff at that point, or were they some of the experienced staff?
They were the new staff. So,
Good evening.
yes, and they've all been informed.
And what have you done about your training regimen to be sure other new people that come on will be equally informed?
Well, we will be adding it to the training manual, but we did have a company meeting as well, and where we informed not only the security staff, but the bartenders as well. So they need to be proactive and be calling police if there is any issues.
Mr. Pearson?
Any idea, what's going on that's attracting troublesome crowd, should I say?
I mean, we're a popular spot. It's a beautiful building, and it's popular. We have great bartenders, and it's a younger clientele base. And normally, we saw a rougher crowd starting to appear. So last summer, we implemented a cover charge and changed the dress code, and we didn't have any issues until, again, this year in the middle of February. We saw those later. I have a feeling that people are going elsewhere to other bars that are being closed down at midnight and then coming in by us, but I don't have any proof of that. So that's why we changed that and instituted that new rule so that we can avoid those issues.
Sergeant Legath, anything to add in way of investigation or anything else, or covered off accurately into the evening, and any follow-up you may have had then?
Yes.
You? Other discussion on the item? From the city attorney's office? Okay. Is in order from,
And I'd like to, make a motion to rescind the formal expression of concern.
Second.
second? Any discussion on the motion to rescind?
What I say is just keep doing what you're doing, Doug.
True version of what you're doing.
An improved version.
No further discussion? All in favor of rescinding the expression of concern?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you for coming out,
Good luck, Doug.
explaining
Thanks
yourself.
for coming.
Thank you.
Please keep up your efforts.
Will do.
Next item, 28723, communication from Alden McCarthy on behalf of the Public Safety and Licensing Committee requesting the appearance of David Lewis, agent for Dual Bar and Grill at 1102 Mound pursuant to a formal expression of concern, and also requesting consideration of rescinding the formal expression of concern. Mr. Lewis? Come on up, and thank you. Seeing how this goes, so we'll start off by swearing you in. Promise everything you tell us will be the truth.
I do.
Thank you very much, and to read off, you're required to appear before this committee because I received notice of one or more concerning incidents at your establishment. As a result, the committee has issued a formal expression of concern against you under section 627 of the ordinance. If you are issued 2 within a 6-month period or 3 or more in a 1-year period, you will be referred to the city attorney's office for disciplinary proceedings, including possible suspension and or revocation of your license. You will have the opportunity to address this committee and tell us how you intend to correct the issues going forward. I'm gonna start off again with Sergeant Legath to give us the overview of the incident that evening.
So 2 incidences, on the same night. We had that first where there was, some type of altercation inside the establishment. We had officers in the area, they saw everybody coming out. We weren't able to actually deal, the officers on scene weren't able to actually deal just because of the large crowd. You did have a security guard working outside, that kind of said that you guys were able to get the problem parties out. One thing with that, I did watch the body camera footage, your security guard was a little hesitant to open the door for the officers, so I would just make sure, he did, but it was just kind of, took the officers a little bit more, like, you know, once we can just go in there, that's part of the license, but he did let us in. I just think he was just worried about the other crowd getting in, but just wanted to bring that up because I saw that in the video. And then shortly after, officers were still in the area, that we had a shots fired. And that found was where your back door was. There was a scene found there from the shooting scene. Again, just stuff we want to make sure we're paying attention to. Again, I know you have security working there, and you usually have you have a crowd there, and it's a hard intersection to deal with, but I know you guys tried to work with that. So that was kind of our point of concern that we had with that.
Okay.
So would you, mind addressing the particular situation as well as, your response to the situation?
In regards to the inside incident, that was some girls got into an altercation. It wasn't like a fight, more of a verbal. They were escorted out of the building. That was it. As far as the outside shooting, that had nothing to do with the bar. That was nothing. It was over there. The police was already there. There was no one to alert. We were pretty much done at that time. Police came in. Capacity, everything was right, it was no issue, so the outside shooting had 0 to do. It was a minor altercation inside with some females, they were immediately escorted out, and that was it. It's nothing to change, it was nothing for us to do, it just was a altercation with some females, and they were escorted out. So, as far as the shooting, that had 0 to do with the bar.
Sergeant, would you expect a phone call for an altercation inside the bar, before they
Yeah, I
escorted
mean,
out?
we would like to, I mean, if, usually with anything, you know, if it's causing your security guards, we don't want your security guards to get in there, depending on the level of the altercation, like if it's verbal and you guys can handle it, if they're actually fighting, but if it's verbal, I think we would be okay with you guys handling it.
It was verbal though, but also the police was already there, so it was like, they were all literally already outside, so it was like no one to call. It was there, the girls were out, and it was.
I know officers were in the area for that.
I'm saying they was literally sitting out there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, so again, that was it. It wasn't like nothing had changed. Everybody followed policy and procedure, and that was it.
Alder Peterson.
Through the investigation of the gunshot, is there any way, are you guys connecting it to that, or is it just coincidental, or there's no?
It's ongoing, I can't speak to that, so.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Alder Go.
all I wanna say is, you know, if you guys keep doing what you're doing, you need to call the police. Summer's coming up and, you know, some bars are getting out early. And I know you guys had issues last year and you cleaned it up quickly. And I just wanna see it continue like that, so I appreciate it.
That was, I did a visit to your establishment as well, and they had everything like in their binders or whatever the case is, and I think, one of the things that we wanted, the bartender at that time to know is like to have the license, like somewhere in the back, behind the bar, so that when, the officer comes in to check, it's like easy, so they don't have to be asking for the binder. But you said, so the police were already in that area when the incident, so it wasn't like they had to call because it was like a physical fight or anything, it was like.
Right, yeah, the officers were already basically outside, were there, and I think saw it and were already there, so I don't even if it was anything major to call, because we were.
Okay, yeah, it's a nice little area in there, but that is a very hot intersection.
Right.
Even with parking, so, yeah, I didn't have a lot of concerns with that one, just the license to make sure that it's visible.
No problem.
You did hear your colleague and how he is approaching this particular situation for late at night crowd, so it's for your consideration. We can't tell you how to run your business, but it's for your
Yeah.
consideration.
They doing that with every bar that's open, every scene, they just pop in from the ones that close at 12, they try to come do the rush there, so, I mean, we usually at capacity prior to that happening, so that's not like really a area of concern for us, but I do know they do go from bar to bar the ones that close early.
I don't happen to know, I've only been by the outside. What is the capacity of your bar?
What is,
That should be on the license too, so, yeah, another reason why it should be
posted.
It needs to be visible, so then
I don't
when they
have
go,
to
they can
listen.
check. Well, how, why did you know that?
Just can't be much more, 'cause the parking is
Right,
atrocious.
Oh, yeah.
Parking is pretty atrocious.
That corner or something. Yes. Further discussion, questions? The attorney's office, any?
nothing.
Okay. Motion is in order.
I make a motion to rescind the formal expression of concern.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Please
Yes, have
keep
a
up,
good night.
yep,
Good
please
luck,
keep up your
guys.
work on it, guys. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Let's go on to the licensed premise report. Since the other folks haven't arrived here yet then. So, Sergeant Gass, any highlights for us?
Nothing to note, nothing that's stuck out to me unless you guys have any questions.
I just got one question on that thing. DeRosa's Bar, that place hasn't been open for a while. Is that place being used for something that's open? There's no kind of occupancy permits or anything there, but I just said, here, it said a property manager called about 3 vehicles parked on the grass without permission. I don't know if you guys know if there's something going on over there.
Not that I know of, so when I run the report, it just gives me a list, so if they use that address, so it might not be open, but it might still be active within our system, so if that's not a thing, I can get that changed in my system.
Well, they used to do after parties there.
No, this was just a park.
So I just wanted to make sure that wasn't happening again. Anything else?
All right, motion to receive and file is in order then.
So moved.
Second.
Is there discussion on the report? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I'm gonna do the last item on the agenda as well, then we'll check into the first one more time. Communication requesting a consideration, formal expression of concerns or other actions pursuant to the police report, I think would be appropriate here to, record that we have rescinded each of the, expressions of concern, so that I can report that out at the city council meeting. So, a motion to approve, is that
Oh,
what? Be in order
so
then?
moved. Sorry.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Back to the first item, 290-23, Alder, Peterson points out there's no letter to appear inside of the packet for this particular
I believe my
establishment?
staff had sent out the letter and they forgot to scan it into the attachment for Munis, but there was a letter sent out.
Okay. So at this point, I assume for a first time, we would, normally defer this and give them a second opportunity.
To defer.
A second for the motion to defer this item.
Second.
We do. Any discussion on deferral? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We have exhausted our agenda. We
To adjourn.
don't need that.
Okay, we don't.
The motion is not recognized.
Oh, okay. Whatever gets us out of here faster.
But can I just say, thank you to Sergeant Lagat and, for putting together the ride-along for myself and Alder Cole. It was really informative to see what it looks like at night, especially during bar closing and all of the, problems and issues that could possibly arise, especially now that it's warming up. So thank you for doing that for us.
And I got to ride with two different officers, I forget the sergeant's name, but he had to go back at 2:30 to take over for whoever was at the PD. They were very informative about everything that's going on, so I thank you guys for them know also.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.